It's really, really beautiful. Greetings, Wanderer. This is Atlas here, and welcome to The Void. Today I'm going to be reacting and breaking down a song called Destruction of Laputa, the choir version from the anime film Castle in the Sky, okay? This is my last coffee personal request that I had scheduled for this month, and this one comes from Justin Michael Hammond, and the comment says, "This is the song that I want you to react and break down. It's my favorite song from any anime or animated film. It's called Destruction of Laputa, choir version. It is from the anime film Castle in the Sky." Okay, so well, thank you very much, Justin, for your request and of course your incredible support. But before we begin, I would like to invite you to listen to my latest track, which is a BERSERK inspired song called Conceived in Blood. And it's actually the song that you've been listening in the background of the intro of this video. So if you're interested in listening to the full song, please, I'm going to leave it in the card right here, but also I'm going to leave a link in the description of this video, okay? So, with that out of the way, onward! Alright, let's see here. Destruction of Laputa choir version from Castle in the Sky. Boom. It opens in that part. It has some strings and a glockenspiel. Wow, this part with the harp is really, really beautiful. Yeah, there it is. Very short and sweet, but very emotional indeed. A very emotional track. Certainly, this track is. I mean, the whole tension and an emotional charge that it has is, well, I guess you already know it's very much contained in the choirs, but the strings, the string symbol, the glockenspiel arrangements and the harp arrangements also add to the embellishment of the song. But we're going to be talking more in depth about those things in the breakdown, so let's break it down. Okay, so I want to start the breakdown by essentially mentioning just a tiny little thing that I found very endearing, let's say, which is that I think that the leitmotif in this particular track, the Destruction of Laputa, sounds very similar to a Seal song called "Kiss from a Rose." You know, it's and if you hear the leitmotif, how it starts, at least in this song from Castle in the Sky, you will see that there is a very a lot of similarities in between both of them. The melody in the Seal song, and of course in this track. But anyways, let's talk about this track by itself, okay? So, of course, like I did mention before, the choir is obviously like the spotlight of the track, and is the one that has that conveys or translates the most about the storytelling of this particular track, okay? So from what I was able to see in the video, apparently Laputa is like a place, you know? I suppose the Castle in the Sky is the image that we saw in the video, but also like Laputa is maybe a place within the castle, or maybe even a character that lives within a castle, you know, who knows. But aside from that, there are very specific characteristics in the choir that add to the premise of what the storytelling of the song is. The first one, and this is like an umbrella thing along the performance of the choir, of course. It's that I do believe that it's a choir of kids. It's a kids choir. So how is this important, and how it differentiates itself from, let's say, if you were to use a choir with only adults? Well, kids choir have more of an emotional charge to it, because think about it. The track is called "Destruction of Laputa," right? So it's talking about a catastrophic event. We often, human beings, we often think of kids like, you know, beings of innocence, of the future of the human race, and so on and so forth, right? Something that it's very precious in the sense that it's the continuation of what we are, right? And that's why what you see in films, kids, you know, well, not necessarily in films only, you can pretty much see that in real life also, but just to stay within the realms of art, let's say, films and any sort of media that involves a catastrophic event, and you see kids either suffering or, you know, involved in some manner in this kind of situations, they add a very high emotional charge to the experience. In some ways, they are very cathartic in the sense that they are like incredibly vulnerable, you know? Like, you would think that adults can be incredibly vulnerable, you know, in situations, in this kind of situations, in these catastrophic events, either a natural disaster, a war, or something like that. But an adult has more means by being an adult to kind of survive. But kids don't, because they're kids. They are just learning as they go, you know, what life is, or and not even what life is, just how to learn the basics of being a human being. You know what I mean? So when you translate that, and I have to say that the decision from the composer to use a kids choir was very deliberate. I really think so, and I think that the composer did that in order to bring that emotional charge and that amount of vulnerability to the track, because you can see that, you can hear, apologies, that the track is very soothing. Also, it's very, I wouldn't say it's like it's a fatalist song, because I think it has like hope in it. It's a bittersweet song. It has the sadness of it and the sorrow of it, but also has a little bit of hope in it. So the difference is, to close this up, because I think I'm just extending myself too much into this, is that if you were to use an adult choir, it wouldn't have translated the same vulnerability that the kids are transmitting, or imbuing the song with it, the just natural innate vulnerability that a kid has just by being a kid. Now let's talk about more specifics in regards to the performance of the choir, okay? Because yes, there are very soothing, incredible harmonies in the choir for sure, to make it more dynamic, more interesting to the listener, and so on and so forth. But I am not really going to focus on that, because I think that what makes the choir really shine and what really adds to the storytelling of the track, again, it's how the vowels in the track are used. We can hear O's and we can hear A's or A's, O's and A's, and U's too. And why is this important for the track? Apologies. Well, it is because you will notice that when you speak these vowels, they have different ways of how you say them. Like, for example, O's, are a closed vowel. They sound very close. A's are more open. A. When you say A, you open more your mouth. When you say O, you close it up. And U's, it's the same thing as the O's. I think it's even a little bit more close than O's. U's are more close. And you can do this yourself. Start practicing, like saying A, O, U, and try to be conscious of how your mouth feels when you speak these vowels. So, how that actually translates into the music itself? Well, when you hear the track, you can start hearing that it starts with O's. O, O, O. But since I already mentioned that the O is a closed vowel, then we can interpret that in the song that it's very tamed. So that adds to the premise of just the track just building up, right? Just by what sort of vowels you are using, when you're singing the song. And then we hear that the song starts opening, not only because it starts adding layers of instruments in the track, like for example the glockenspiel and of course the string section. That very specifically the string section opens the track, because to me string sections have this very refined open sound. That also depends of how you're performing it, right? In this case, the string section was very much performing with legato, which is a technique that makes the strings sound very open. But the transition in the choir goes from O's to A's. So it goes O to A's, right? So just by that change in the performance and the vowel that is used, you can hear that the song opens a little bit more, or significantly more. That is the reason why in the climax of the song you're able to hear only A's or La's, because I think that's the way they're singing the leitmotif in that part. So the A in the La is very much still giving that openness to the track. And of course, the climax of the song, you don't want the climax of the song, at least in this particular track, to sound tamed, because you want to make it, first of all, radically different from the build up that you were working on from the beginning of a track using the O's. And when the song explodes, right, and comes into the climax, and you hear, and you kind of get the feeling that the song, it's like booming. Of course, the vowel A in the choir is going to give that openness. It's going to be how you would say, coherent, or congruent. I would say it's the right word for it. Like, it's the congruency. Everything is aligned. All that you hear sounds very open and very lush. Yeah. However, towards the end of the track, we can start hearing that the vowels and the choirs start to alternate a little bit more, and that's when we hear the hues with the do-do-dos. And of course, that adds to the dynamic feel of a song in terms of the song not be so much plain in the way of how it is performed. But also, there's a very interesting thing that happens, which is that the song ends with A's in the vowels in the performance, which gives although the song has, I would say, a conclusion. I don't think it has like a closure, like a complete closure on it. I mean, it's like the song has a resolution in terms of the track, like technically, but in the storytelling, there's no resolution. I think that's what I'm trying to say, because it's like the storytelling of the track with that final choir using the A vowel. It's open. It's like unresolved. It doesn't bring any closure. However, the arrangement of the track brings closure. So I think that's kind of a very interesting thing, how to look at the end of a track, right? It's like you have closure, but at the same time you don't. So yeah, I think this track was beautiful, was very soothing, bittersweet. I loved the decision of implementing the kids choir. I liked the addition of the glockenspiel and the harp in certain parts of the song as an additional arrangement to the track. I really liked those arrangements. However, I think there was just one tiny detail, which is basically like insignificant, but I would rather have and not have that in the song than have it, which was the cymbals. When the cymbal that you hear when the song is making the transition in between the build-up and the climax of the song, I think it was it made me come out of the song somehow, because it was too loud. I think that with a louder timpani roll, it would have been better to my liking. But it doesn't really mean that the song is bad for that. It's just a personal preference of mine. So I think I'm gonna give this track a silver badge, a high silver badge. Okay. So yeah. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like and share it with your friend. Also, please don't forget to visit my Patreon in case you want to sway the vote toward what I'm going to be breaking down next. Also, I am doing reactions and breakdowns of anime in my Patreon. So right now I'm doing JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Visit my Ko-fi profile in case you want to make a one-time contribution, or my Ko-fi store in case you want one of these personal requests, okay? And also my Teespring shop where you can get merch and all that jazz. And of course, ex nihilo nihil fit.